on. Boom.
Boom, there it is.
Gentlemen. Oh, we ready to have some fun today. We got a new show type for you, and here is the fire that we need to get this show on the road.
Shut up and sit down.
The Business Bros Podcast was created for you. Learn from the business professionals who come to share their stories. Find out what's working in business, on social media, what's hot and what's not, straight from the mouths of successful entrepreneurs out there doing the real work. And now, welcome to another episode of
Business Bros. Yeah, it is time, Ham. All right, let's give everybody the heads up on what's going to happen here, okay?
Oh boy, here we go.
So, I'm going to mute this over here because I got to make sure that I don't have an echo. There we go. All
no
right.
echo.
This is what's going to happen. So normally we do a show and it's interview-based show. I get to interview an entrepreneur and it's always fun to get to know, meet new people, what it is that they're doing, that sort of stuff, right? But every once in a while, like today, for example, we have a last minute cancellation or we close off for the first Monday of every month or whatever the situation is, right? So James and I, well, mostly I pushing James into doing something a little bit different.
As usual,
we're always trying to make the show fun and engaging and entertaining, right? And so we've been doing this for quite some time.
Oh, is that what we're trying to do? Okay, all right.
Always. And so, and yeah, yes, that's exactly what we're trying to do. All right. So, what was I going with? So, on days like this where we don't have a guest, and we have some last minute stuff, I figured, you know what would be fun if we talked about stuff that's relevant today and we showed how different James and I actually are. In a lot of the things that we do, we are completely different. And we live in a world right now, especially where being different or having an opposing opinion is like all of a sudden it constitutes like freaking all out war. Like we hate each other. That side is only that side, or this side is only this side. When in all reality, if we had dialogue, if we just conversated with people, if you had conversations amongst some of these harsh topics, you realize that most people are just out to be good people and they believe in something, whether it was because it was imposed on them, they grew up that certain way, maybe they picked up a thing here and there, maybe their life experiences are a little bit different. But ultimately, I think most people are good people and they don't really hate each other. They disagree with each other. And, you know, let's face it, most adults are just grown-up children. They just don't know how to deal with something where it's so different, where you just have such a different opinion. So the whole idea behind when James and I come on some of these shows, and what we're going to call them Let's Get Heated. So we're going to talk about stuff that we don't obviously agree upon. And we're obviously it's going to come back down to business because James and I talk business all the time. But some of it is just really societal, like how it affects our day to day and how we think and how we act and how we interact with people and the questions that we might ask on the show to a guest and where we're going to guide conversation. So we figured, why not talk about one of the harshest topics James and I talk about all the time, your opinion on vaccines. So we get to get a little bit heated. Hopefully I get to like light a little fire under James's butt because let's face it, man, I can get him pretty hot. Oh,
None likes to do that.
yeah, a little bit of fire there. A little Metallica, a little bit of heat. All right, so that's the idea behind it. And you guys, as if you're live on the show, feel free to chime in. You can drop a comment in. You can drop an opinion in. What's your opinion on vaccines? We'll start with that one because that's what we're going to start off with today's conversation. Mind you, again, I'm going to premise this. James and I disagree on a lot of stuff, but at the end of the day, there's a lot of love there, right? We do really care about each other, and we're actual brothers, so I mean that's part of it too, right?
Actual brothers. Yeah, we're stuck.
Actual brothers, but we really do care about each other, and we really
I did
do
give
care
Mom a
about
hug
our
for
upbringing.
you and for Rosa and Liam and Mila yesterday.
Aw,
yeah,
thank you.
Gave her all the extra hugs.
And speaking of which, right? So here's the premise. Let me lay it down for you. So last weekend, James and I went to Mexico. We went to Corey and Leslie's wedding, right? And everything was good. We had fun, and I'll be honest, over there, like nobody wore a mask when we were in the facility. You know, it was
outdoors.
It was outdoors.
So that was
it wasn't
good.
like super congested and close up either, or anything like that.
But it was 50 people, and it was pretty well spread out.
It was pretty well spread out.
Yep, but it was still outdoors, and it was outdoors.
Right, and we had a good time, and it was fun.
We did. It was fun.
Right. Fast forward to this weekend, Mother's Day weekend, right? And if you guys saw my Instagram stories, I made 18 steaks for families over here in San Diego. Woo. And James helped me out, and he went to LA to visit Mom. Now, I haven't seen Mom in a while. Mom's been kind of cooped up in the house. She's been taking care of Grandma. Yeah, she's taking care of Grandma. Grandma's 92 now. I think 92.
91.
91
in August.
She'll turn 92 in August. So Mom's been staying home. She doesn't want to go out and, accidentally get sick or anything, bring it home. She's being as cautious as she possibly can.
Even more so. Grandma just needs more care.
Plus, Grandma needs more care.
Yeah.
However, let's get back to the actual conversation.
She's 91 years old, and she's finally starting to show her age.
Yeah, finally, after 91 years. Woman's an ox.
Yeah. But anyway.
So, James, I actually invited James. I was going to invite him to come over to the house. And he says, no, I can't. I got to kind of be in quarantine for the next 2 weeks. And then he says, yeah, but by the way, I'm going to go visit Mom. Right. So for me right there, I was like, whoa, like, wait, quarantine?
You didn't invite me to your house. You invited me to poker night.
Oh, it was poker night we were going to. Yeah. That's right. Poker night. But either way, it was like to go somewhere, and his reason was, nah, I can't. I'm quarantining myself. Now you got to add some light to why you're quarantining yourself, but he's quarantining himself. And then the next day he's like, yeah, by the way, I'm going to go visit Mom and, give Mom hugs for Mother's Day. And I was like, wait, there's a his hypocrisy knows no bounds here. Like you're not going to go to this thing because you're quarantining, but you're going to go to this thing. Like, give me some background here.
So I'm not going to go to that thing because I don't know what everybody's vaccine situation is. And if they tend to think along the same lines as you, and I think they do, they're probably not people that are in a hurry or going to get the vaccine. So in that situation, I'm like, no, I'm good. I will stay home and I don't need to bother with that. Let's see. Bonnie, hey everyone. Only one comment about vaccines. Both my boss were vaxxed for chickenpox, and they both just came down with chickenpox.
They should have been boys.
Both my boys.
This is one of those things I'm going to kind of bounce off of. So Bonnie says, you know what? She's got the kids vaccinated. When I was a kid, vaccines for chickenpox either didn't exist or we didn't get them. Our vaccine for chickenpox was your cousins got them. Go rub elbows with them and get it yourself so you can get through it. Right.
Yeah. Chickenpox was no big deal.
No big deal. But what we're saying here is you feel more comfortable with people who are already vaccinated versus people who are not already vaccinated.
Correct.
And my thought behind that is, well, you're vaccinated, right? So you're able to.
I had the second shot on Friday, which means I got another 2 weeks before it actually goes through.
Okay, and then explain to me what your understanding of being vaccinated means. Like, what can you go do? What will you feel comfortable being out about going?
Pretty much that. Like once that's done, I am gonna be able to do everything that I was normally doing before.
So you'll feel normal after that.
I will feel normal after that.
So that means when we have, I don't know, whatever, we need to have an ideation session at the house. You're down, you come over.
Yep.
We go to poker night, you're down, you come over.
Yep. I still hate that you won't get the vaccine, but yeah.
And here's my thing. I'm not saying I'm not going to get it ever. I'm just going to wait a while. Chickenpox, for example. Why did the vaccine for chickenpox come out so quickly? It took a while. I mean, I'm going to go as far as to say that most of my childhood, it didn't exist until after that. And yet it's pretty, dude, chickenpox sucks. I don't know about people dying, but it's pretty bad. Like when you get sick.
When you're older and you get chickenpox, there's a higher likelihood of death. That's why they want you to get it when you're a kid. That way, it's whatever. And then there's something that comes after chickenpox. I'm trying to think of what it is.
It's the measles?
No. It's man, I can't think of it. But I remember that they gave me a shot for it when I joined the Navy. They're like, "Have you had the chicken pox?" They're like, hey, "Yep." Okay, I mean, they gave me so many vaccines. Now, honestly, that's one of the reasons why I'm like, "Oh, vaccine, cool, whatever." Like, there was literally a hallway of vaccines. I walked through, and they shot me in this arm, and then they shot me in this arm, and then they shot me in this arm, and then they shot me in this arm. There was like 6 stations that I got shot in, right? In for all these different vaccines, and then they sent me to a room, and I put my elbows on the table, and I pulled my pants down, and they shot me in the butt with another one.
Shingles, by the way.
Shingles, that's the one.
That's what Bonnie came out with. And
Yep.
she's like, yep. And now you got to be careful. Yeah. Look, here's the thing, though. I feel like a lot of those vaccines had time to be tested. They went through proper testing. They were approved. They don't go past the FDA and say, we're still in test phases. Let's roll it out to a general public. So I don't know. And I'm not saying that vaccine is bad, right? And that's the other thing is I'm not saying it's bad. All I'm saying is I'm going to wait to see a little bit.
There's literally plenty of science.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
what are you waiting to see?
I don't know, man. It could be anything.
Zombie apocalypse.
Zombie apocalypse. I'll give you an example. Ronnie, we used to go to church with Ronnie all the time, right? He had like small heart attacks because of blood clots that happened really close to after he took his vaccine. Now, I ain't no doctor. I don't know if that caused one thing or the other. Right. But it's stuff like that where we just don't know what the subtleties are for these things that I'm just going to like wait. And for me, one of the main reasons why wait is because I feel I'm healthy enough to take on that risk. I'm healthy enough to wait.
You are, but your in-laws aren't, and they live with you.
Right. But they're choosing. And that's the thing is everybody's going to make their own choice. They're choosing to wait on their own. Right, mom and dad about the same age. They didn't wait; they went and got it too.
Luckily,
I don't know, man. Why the pressure to get everybody like done? I mean, my only thought is herd immunity, obviously.
Basically, that's it. Like, the more people that get the vaccine, the less likelihood that it's going to spread and create another outbreak. Like, we had 2 out of 3 people in our family, extended or otherwise, that didn't come home from the hospital.
That's true.
Like, why would
that
went into the hospital?
But of all the other people that got it, not all of them went into the hospital.
So what? So what? If that vaccine had been out and everybody had got it, like, those deaths would have been preventable.
Maybe.
Where's the maybe? Like, where is your logic here?
My maybe is oftentimes there's more than just the one thing. Like there was other conditions going on with the people who went into the hospital.
Fair, but the vaccines would have prevented, would have prevented the death. So the vaccine, we were having this conversation and you were like, well, even if you get the vaccine, like, there's still a chance that you could get COVID. Yes, there's still a chance that you could get COVID, but it's been basically 100%, right? As studies that the hospitalization rates and the death rate is like nil. So yes, you might still get COVID. Yes, you might still get sick, but you're not going to wind up in the hospital and you're not going to die.
Yet. See, that's always my thing, right? I don't know.
Yet. Everybody's going to die someday.
Everybody's going to die at some point, right? But for me, it's
you're
also
not going to
like,
die from COVID.
No, but what if it does other things to you? What if it like, I don't know, like one of the things blood clots or more risk of cancer, like those types of things scare me. They do. Like and for me, it's like, take on the risk of putting something into my body, or take on the risk of maybe contracting something that doesn't have a statistical upside to kill me.
Not you, but others around you.
And they can get vaccinated if they like. I know that's always my thought process.
Like, but you have a responsibility to society as well. Like, you are part of society. Like, yeah, okay, other people can go and get vaccinated, and they are, and they're doing it, and good for them. And the more people that do it, the better. But like, you are basically exposing other people without their consent.
But I don't know. I don't see that way. I don't know. Because I don't have it. And if I did, I would quarantine.
You don't know that you have it. And that's the thing about it, is you don't know. It's there's a lot of people that are asymptomatic. And so you can be asymptomatic and carry it and, pass it on to somebody else. And then they go home to their grandma, grandpa who hasn't got the vaccine, right? Mom and dad who's, thinking the same lines as you. I'm 38 years old. I'm 41 years old. I'm 51 years old. I don't need the vaccine. It's not hitting my age group.
Quite possibly. So what about, so then let's take this to a things opening up sector, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I heard on I don't know, must have been some piece of content, TikToks, Instagram, whatever, newsreel of people saying that if we open things up, it's going to de-incentivize people from taking the vaccine, right? So this June 30th hypothetical deadline of where things are going to completely open up, right? If that happens for business, I think that's phenomenal, right? Clubs, bars, amusement parks, all these, restaurants, everything's going to open back up. That's going to be awesome. And we still don't know who is, who isn't. Like, that's not a mandatory thing that's going on to like cards or anything. But growing up, we always had shot records. Like I've been vaccinated for a lot of the stuff that we've done in the past. I just feel like holding on to this one's a little bit longer, and I'm not the only one in that boat. And when that June 30th deadline comes and things are opening back up, like, what do you think is going to happen? Like, what do you foresee in the conversations that you're having amongst people where the world is going to go? Or, what's the big, I mean, there's a fear obviously, but what do you think is going to happen?
I think it depends on, the percentage of people that we can convince to get the vaccine. Like, right now, everybody that wanted to get the vaccine has gotten it. Everybody that has wanted it, has had the opportunity, pretty much is doing it. It was April 15th here in California that it opened up to anyone age 16 and older. And so on the 16th, I was there, right? I was like, boom, like, let me do this. Now, other people maybe weren't able to get time off of work. And so maybe there's a week or 2 or 3, whatever, where people are still catching up and able to make that time. But for the most part, everybody, I think, that has, 80-90% of the people that wanted to get the vaccine will have at least gotten the first dose by now. The trick at this point is getting the people like you who are hesitant, reluctant, distrustful, whatever, it is, to just say, okay, I'm going to go ahead and do this, do my good service to society and, play along. I'll do this. I'll get the vaccine. I'm, just whatever it is that we need to do to convince everybody else it's safe. Like, this is a good thing. We should do this. This is what our country needs. This is what the world needs, over and over and over again. I mean, vaccines, I don't understand where the distrust is. Like, we've been doing vaccines forever and ever and ever, and this is just another one.
I think it comes with the
same.
I don't know though, because I hear way other sides too. Like, when you fall down rabbit holes, dude, when you go down some of these rabbit holes, whatever side you fall into, there's a lot of argument on both sides.
I don't go into rabbit holes.
Yeah, you do. Everybody does.
Stupid. No,
everybody goes into rabbit holes. Yeah, it's about who we surround ourselves with. You're surrounding yourself with a doctor.
Uh-huh.
And that doctor believes in what that vaccine is going to do.
That doctor believes in medical science.
Okay, right. But that's the results that they're getting, because if you hang out in other circles with other doctors who see opposing views in their own medical science, that's a different rabbit hole that you'd be living in.
That's the minority.
I don't know. It's the
minority. It's the minority. You're talking about fringe. You're talking about
I don't think so.
You're talking about the bell curve, and we're in the 13th and 1 percentile over there.
I don't think so. See, and this is where I think everybody thinks that the other side is the minority. I think it's more towards the 50-50 marker, to be honest. I think there's a huge disparity in what people believe is public opinion based on who they surround themselves with. I am honestly, and I ask people all the time, and this is one of those weird stigmas.
Have we seen deaths dropping? Have we seen death rates dropping?
Yes.
Is the vaccine working?
I see, and here's where I would differ. I would say it's because people have contracted and built up their own immunities.
That's silly.
What? But it's the same thing.
Mm-mm.
My district is in a rush and also changed info about the efficiency and zero research on those. Efficacy. And zero research on those immune compromised like myself.
I don't know about that. So the rush, the changing information, like that stuff, this has been a changing, it's a novel virus, right? In other words, it's new. Like, we haven't seen anything like this. So this thing has been around literally for 18 months. Right?
And you found a vaccine in 18 months. And when statistically it's been taking about 7 to 10 years for a vaccine to come through. This
one was a rush, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Your president approved that.
Anytime something gets rushed, something gets messed up. In my opinion, it happens over and over and over again. Now, I'm not saying it's you're going to do the same thing.
Yeah. I hear you.
7 years, right? I'm just saying that.
because they okay, but here's the thing: if we waited 7 years, like this thing killed 650,000 plus people in the U.S. in 1 year. You want to wait 6 more?
But compare that to the people. But again, how many people died in 2019? And this is a statistic I keep wanting to look up. The comparative rates.
Go ahead, look it up. I will look it up for you because those statistics have not come out yet.
Oh, I want to know. Because I'm wondering. I'm super curious in that. Like, that's one of those things. Like, who's to say that we didn't overreact? And that the people that passed away that we coded as COVID as what did I hear a doctor say one time? Cause of death.
Actually, hang on. During January to December 2020, the estimated 2020 age-adjusted death rate for the first time since 2017, increase of 15.9% from 2019. Wait.
Say that again.
This is in the CDC. From January to December of 2020, there was an increase of 15.9% death rate.
15.9 in what?
In the US.
Yeah, but is that overall deaths? Is that in a particular category? Is that plus? Should they make you sign a waiver? Trust me, I don't want to work. Well, and speaking of school bells. I ask teachers, and this is controversial, right? Because not everybody's going to share with you whether they're vaccinated or not. But I've been asking because I want to know, am I the only one? And again, dude, there's so many that have not. And there's teachers, right, that have not gotten it. And as I ask more and more people in general, I'm like, okay, I was actually under the impression like you, Ham, where I thought it was a minority. I thought it was like, okay, maybe I am in such a huge small amount of people that haven't gotten it. But the more I ask, it's not small minorities. I'm not saying it's the majority either, because it's definitely not the majority. But there's a good chunk.
Your buddy, Tony Robbins, who was the one that I know you were quoting, he was like, "Oh, the death rates haven't changed, blah 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 blah." The results hadn't come out. The information had not been established.
Released.
Because I looked it up when you told me about that, and all I could find was 2019, 2019, 2019. Right now,
Nothing 2020.
nothing for 2020. Right now, looking at it, it increased by 15.9%. The death rate increased by 15.9%. You cannot tell me that people were not dying from this.
I didn't say they weren't dying from it. I never said that. I mean, we literally experienced that, right?
Yeah, I know. But I mean, I'm just saying, like, the death rate did go up.
I'm gonna have to do some homework on that.
If we waited 7 years for the vaccine to be fully tested, like, what would our death rate be? Like, there's a reason why they rushed it. And yeah, sure, it's not as well researched because we didn't have the time. But frankly, we didn't have the time. How many more young, otherwise generally healthy, okay, maybe a little big,
I don't know about generally healthy.
Come on, I mean, strong, healthy, active.
Great, beautiful, amazing people. Yes. But not always the strongest and healthiest. And here's the other thing. Here's the other thing that we have to also take into consideration. We're just talking about just straight age and health. I mean, we were talking about this prior to even getting into COVID, right? And it's the number of people reaching age 65 and older every single day by the tens of thousands. So you have a huge chunk of the aging population aging. You have a huge chunk of them who grew up on, I mean, look, at that generation is the generation that grew up on Coca-Cola, on sugar, snacks, processed food. That's one of the first generations that started doing that because that was the age of McDonald's coming into life, fast food. I mean, a lot of these distribution channels, a lot of that is where the generation that's aging up was the first to experience a lot of this. This is where we started getting a lot more things like diabetes, a lot more things like obesity. This is a generation that's first getting hit with a lot of that. And they're aging up.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. This thing took out people that it shouldn't have.
Dude, people die all the time that shouldn't. They absolutely die. They shouldn't.
You can't use that though, because these types of things are preventable. These are things that are preventable.
Unless this was, to me anyways, unless this was biologically created and released, these are what we call acts of God. That's just, I don't know. For me, that's how I see it. Right? Was this created by man and released out to the public as a biological weapon? I don't think so.
It depends on which rabbit hole you go down, right?
Absolutely. I just don't believe that that's. I would like to believe that that's not what happened. Right? That's me personally. Can you take a detour in that area? Hell yeah, you possibly can. Right?
Yeah. And I'm sure there's plenty of people that believe that was, that
it was deliberate, malicious, and all those things. Right? Okay, cool.
Yep.
But taking that aside, then this comes down to an act of God. Like nobody goes and creates measles or SARS or bird flu, right? Or Spanish flu. Like nobody goes out and creates those things. But these things happen. Hurricane Katrina.
We had measures. We had, we had protocols. We had all kinds of things that said, you know what, do this and, stay apart, like follow the protocols, right? Don't have big parties. Don't, do all of these, stay masks, right? Walk around with a mask and do all of these different things. And we're going to bring the death rate down. We're going to bring the death rate down. We're going to bring the death rate down. Now we have a vaccine. And the whole purpose is to bring the death rate down, to bring it to a point where we're not increasing the year-over-year deaths by 15.9%. That's the whole point. Like
I know you hate arguing with me on this point.
I can't do it. Well, I mean,
yeah, we're always going to disagree, but it's cool.
I mean, we're going to disagree on a lot of things. We do these days, but it's just like I get it. You know, there's a lot of distrust, but the science is there. The science is, it's just science. Like there's not a lot of arguing with it. Do we not have 7 years to see the long-term results? Sure. Right. But also we didn't really have that luxury either, because we needed to get this thing under control.
Like many things that we talk about, time will tell. Right? Time will tell.
And just to touch on this point, Bonnie, when I went to get my vaccine, no, they didn't make me sign a waiver. It was super easy. I had my ID and my Kaiser card, and they shot my arm and gave me a sticker and gave me a little card that said come back in 2 weeks, and that was it. Sent me on my way.
It's like the I voted sticker.
So it's like the I voted sticker. Yeah. I mean, it's mind baffling to me that this is a political issue. Like, why is this a political issue? Why is it that if you're on the right, like,
I don't know if I see it as a political issue. I see it more for me as a health issue. Like, I don't want to put something in me that I don't trust. I just don't trust it yet.
It's a political issue. Just like, is BLM a political issue?
No. I think I don't
Whoa.
like it. I don't like BLM being a left or right issue. I think BLM is a people intolerance issue. Like, we won't accept our own flaws in our own cultures. We won't accept accountability and responsibility for what actually happens. And I think it gets thrown into a political thing because people feel like government is what's going to make a change, versus I believe that individuals in the household are responsible for making that change.
That right there. Masks became a political issue.
Yeah, and I can see that one for sure. I don't like wearing masks because I don't.
It's the same thing.
I don't like wearing masks.
Issue.
I don't like wearing masks because it sucks wearing a mask. I do when I'm at work.
Issue.
I do when I'm at work because of other people. I do when I do at Walmart. I wear it at Walmart because other people. But because it's
your
mandated,
hypocrisy knows no bounds.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. But because it's mandated for me to go into campus, it's mandated for me to go into the store. As soon as that mandate goes away, I'm not wearing it.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta buy my groceries, so they gotta let me in if I wear the mask. I gotta go to work, so I gotta put the mask on so I can go into work. But I hate wearing that thing. Any minute I can take it off, I have it off. Because it's not what I want to wear. And it's like, I get it. I understand why. But again, I don't know, man. I don't want to live in a box the whole time. I hated being in quarantine forever, even though I love being at home. But, I don't know. It's different. It's different. Anyways.
Yeah, we're making our way out of it. It's going to be over soon.
Finally.
Yeah, you'll be able to not wear your mask and, et cetera, et cetera.
This is going to be one of those
if
issues
you get your vaccine and then everybody else gets their vaccine, that much more reassurance that after things open up, we won't have to close up again because a bunch of a-holes didn't want to get their vaccines and now everybody got sick again.
Or there's something else that comes out and everybody freaks out and panics again, and then we close it down and call it something else.
This is literally once in a lifetime.
I hope so. I don't know if the world or myself can even stand another
unless
lockdown
you were
here.
alive in 1918.
Which
this is grandma's not even there. No, she was
there.
1929. So this is a once in a lifetime. Like, these types of things don't happen.
We hope.
Often.
At least, hey, here's the plus side. If something were to go down again, we have a lot of infrastructure and a lot of practice to make sure that we clean things up really quick the second time around, right?
Yeah, as long as people actually follow the procedures and protocols and do what they're supposed to.
So don't make it political.
Please don't make it political. Just follow the rules.
Oh, but who sets the
loses
rules?
their minds.
I don't know that one. All right, ladies and gents, look, we're done here for today. But look, here's the deal. We're going to have some heated debates. We threw this one up last minute, but I promise you, James and I are going to sit down. We're going to figure out what makes us uncomfortable, what stuff people want to talk about, because that's what we're going to do on these shows. Get a little heated, and it's okay to have a different conversation, to not agree. James and I are still going to hang out. We're still going to show love. I mean, we're still here. We're still going to do the show every day, right, Ham?
That's right. That's right. And I learned a long time ago never to punch you in the face.
There you go.
Only did that one time.
All right, ladies and gents, that's all we got for you guys today. We'll see you again mañana. Peace. And we're out.
Thank you for listening to the Business Bros Podcast. Are you looking to get more clients or to increase your income? Hernan, the business bro, can help you generate referrals through the power of podcasting. And James, the insurance bro with Pipeline Insurance, can help you effectively add insurance to your existing business. If you are ready to create wealth today and generational wealth for tomorrow, email businessbros@csfirst.com to schedule a free consultation or join the Business Bros Network, www.businessbros.biz.